We'll give it another. Yeah, you know what? Let's get to it. So, first things first. Let's go over the calls that are doing their earnings report. And I think I might have confused some of the people when I said earnings report last time. Earnings report is a quarterly call that publicly traded companies do that let its investors know what they did the following quarter. So, I didn't really specify earnings call before, and if you're not really familiar with it, that shit could sound like mumbo jumbo. So, I did just want to make sure you guys knew what an earnings call is. Once again, earnings call is a quarterly call that they do for investors. If you actually own stock in specific companies, you can join these earnings calls. They're mad boring. It's just some normal old white man going over numbers that really don't matter. But if you ever want to know how a company did the quarter before, an earnings call is what it is. So let's go through some of the earnings calls that are going to be happening today. The first one that's going to be happening today is Micron Technology. If you've ever seen any of my Fetti talks, then you know that I am super behind Micron Technology. Actually, the first piece of content I put on Patreon is about semiconductors and how if you're not invested in semiconductors going into the future, then you're really going to be missing out. So that is the number one company that I would be looking into that's going to be doing their earnings report today. That's one. General Mills, that's another one. Bed Bath and Beyond, that's another one. Um, a lot of these companies is motherfuckers you probably never heard of. A lot of technology companies, a lot of therapeutic companies, and a lot of holding companies. But the main companies that you guys want to tap into in terms of how they've done is those three. Micron Technology specifically because that company has a ton of upside. Once again, if you are tapped into my Patreon page, you know the importance of semiconductors in our society. Actually, if you guys have tried to rent a car, let's just give some of the information about that page because that Patreon shit that I actually posted that maybe like two or maybe like 3-4 weeks ago. So it's old content. So if you guys have ever gone to a car rental place, if you guys have wondered like, God damn, car rentals is costing $500-$600 for a motherfucking Toyota Corolla. It's crazy. The reason why that is because new cars are running out of semiconductors. Semiconductors are the smart chips that actually make a computer and a Tahoe, Escalade. These new cars go like every new car has these computers in them now, and they're ran by semiconductors. We have a shortage of semiconductors because the leader in producing semiconductors is Taiwan. Taiwan. We rely on Taiwan for semiconductors. They've been on bullshit ever since COVID. Because of that, we have had an extreme shortage of semiconductors. Now, I say that to say the new car companies are now buying cars from the auctions where people normally get their rentals from, which means that the rentals have a shortages, which means that the rentals are high as fuck. So if you're wondering why the rentals are high, it's because of semiconductors. So Micron Technology is doing its earnings call. It's very important because it is going to let you know if this is a company that's worth investing into, and this is a company that I vouched for even before I started my Patreon page. So that's in terms of earnings calls. In terms of the market today, pretty flat, nothing crazy. We would have thought that it was doing a lot better because they just announced that private payrolls have risen to 692,000, which was expected to actually be around 550,000. When we say payrolls, that means, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's motherfuckers that's actually starting to get checks. So hopefully that means that tomorrow the unemployment rate should go down. I think that is what investors are waiting to see is are people still milking unemployment while payrolls are going up? Because I know a lot of y'all, you get a little check, you start a little job, and you on unemployment. A lot of motherfuckers like to milk that shit, and I get it. I ain't mad at it. I've done it before myself back in the day. But just know if these go up, but the unemployment is around what it was at last week, the stocks ain't about to move tomorrow neither. That's important to know. Like it's super important to know. If the unemployment doesn't go down tomorrow, it's letting the economy know that niggas is still milking the unemployment check. So the stocks will not go up tomorrow if that is the case. But if the stocks go down tomorrow, I mean, if unemployment goes down tomorrow, expect the stocks to do very, very well. That's why it hasn't moved today because people are just waiting to see if people are still milking that unemployment shit. Just kind of some word of advice. Dev was good. Yo, Dev, will you please stop touching people during battles, fam? People don't like pocket checks. Stop touching people, man, nigga. You're nice enough to where you don't have to grab people and yoke them the fuck up. Don't do it no more, man. You're nice enough without that. Real estate is up for people who are paying attention to real estate. Real estate, just like in 2008, it has a absolute a lot to do with the stock market. It has a lot to do with the stock market. So the housing market showed that it's actually been doing better this year than it has since 2005. That can be something to kind of be worried about, only because 2005 shit was booming, and 2 years later the shit crashed because people were pushing through mortgages. Now, one of the reasons why this is different is because one of the reasons why sales are doing as good as they have is because mortgages, the interest rate is actually down more than it has been in quite some time. So normally when the mortgage rate is down, that means you can't really do a lot of finagling. What happened in 2007 as to why shit crashed is because mortgage brokers was pushing through everything. And by pushing through everything, they was giving these funny ass loans called interest only loans. Now, if you ever buy a house, do not ever take an interest only loan, because basically what that means is you're only paying the interest a few years, and then once you actually get to the principal, that price normally goes up like triple. That has a lot to do with why the market crashed. So I say that to say the mortgage percentage going down right now means that it's a healthy growth, as opposed to niggas just getting houses to get houses. So because of both employment and houses going up in terms of sales, if the unemployment rate is down tomorrow, we should expect things to go very well. But you do have the stocks like Tesla. A lot of tech stocks are doing good today. Apple's doing good today. Tesla's doing good today. Coupang is doing good today. So the tech stocks is where it's at right now. Um, and that's pretty much it, y'all. I appreciate y'all waiting for me. Like I said, business calls. You niggas ain't paying me unless you motherfuckers is on the Patreon page. And if you on the Patreon page, I ain't come late with that. That shit's still up on there. So make sure you guys tap in for the people who are in the Patreon page, because I have some really good content about Amazon. People know what they know, but they don't know what I know about some of this Amazon shit. So make sure you guys tap into it. It's a really interesting piece. But that's pretty much it, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow. Not the same time, you know how I go, but the same place. So y'all have a good day. I will catch you niggas tomorrow.